but I don't think others are well supported as Mongo right now. Okay, so in Mongo we have collections. I tell Meteor that I want So I tell Meteor that I want a new collection named messages. Meteor automatically creates a collection in the Mongo database that is named messages, and that's basically it. Note that I'm declaring that I want this collection in the anywhere folder. That's because in Meteor, unlike usually, before the Meteor era, even when we developed things in Node.js, what we used to do is to have APIs. Let's say that we wanted to add a new message to a chat. We would have a HTTP endpoint to which we send the JSON to with the messages that we want to add to the chat. And say that we wanted to have an admin panel where we can remove some messages. We'll have another endpoint to ask for messages removal and so on. And an endpoint that will send us the recent messages. In Meteor, we don't really need to do that. In Meteor, because we have constant connection with the server, what we do is to tell Meteor what subset of the database we want to make available for the clients that log into to our clients. Okay, and we also tell Meteor what kind of operation we allow these clients to do. For example, we can say that we allow clients to add new messages and to maybe remove messages and so on. Of course, we can distinguish between users, so we can have only some of the clients to have the permissions to remove a certain message. So, what I'm doing here, as I said, I'm creating the collection, and now in the server, you can see it here, I'm telling Meteor to publish the subset of the last. You know what? Let's also have the code for the client, and then I'll explain both of them. Okay. In the client, I'm telling Meteor that I want the client to subscribe to the last 10 messages that was in the chat. In the client, in the server side, I have a publication that is named messages. Okay, so once they subscribe to messages, it receives as an argument the log size, how many messages we want to receive, and then we ask Mongo to find the last 10 messages. Every time a new message is inserted to the database, I add the time it was inserted, so I can sort the messages by the time that they were received. So what we'll have here is that publication will keep the clients updated, the clients that were subscribed to it, about the last 10 recent messages. Okay, so in the client now, I'm subscribing to the last 10 messages. I'm setting a session variable that is named username. By default, it's guest with a random number. And before, then for the input, let me show it to you. So, for the message input template, once now show it, you can see that there is a button here, and I'm telling Meteor that every time this button is being clicked, to see what is the content of the input and to insert that content into the messages collection. Now, the interesting thing to note here is that this is being done in the client. It's like I'm using the Mongo API and interacting with it from the client itself. I didn't have to create an HTTP endpoint to which I sent the content. I just write it as if it was the server side, and it just worked. So in that case, I just use the messages insert and insert the message, and that's it. Another thing I do is to set the messages helper for the messages template. So in the messages template, the messages template is what's going on here, okay? In the messages template, you can see that for each message, we will add a message. For each message that template receives from the messages helper, which I define here, that receive the messages from the subset that was sent with the subscription, I simply add these messages to the template. So let's go back to the video. Now, I'm doing here what I just showed you in the final code, which is to load the messages that the messages helper has and print them in a loop. Okay? And now it's already working. Okay? The only thing that is missing here is the clearing of the input once a new message is being sent. Now, another thing to note is every time I change the code in the server side, Meteor refreshes itself automatically. You don't even have to refresh it. And now the next thing that I'll do is to add the input for to change the username. Okay, because now it's only guess, and you can see that we don't have yet the input. So I create a new input, a new template that is named nickname. That's the mockup for it. Wait, it's way too fast. You can see it here. That's only the mockup, but we'll just make it functional. So we add a helper. That helper has the current nickname, which we take from the username session variable. And once the button of the set nickname template is being clicked, all I'm doing is to every time the button is being clicked here, all I'm doing is to check what the value here is and to set it as the new username in the session. Okay. You can see that it's not quite secured right now. I mean, the users can change their name to whatever they want, but it's only to show some principles of Meteor. And now once I, you can see that after I typed a new username and set it, it's already worked. That's all I had to do in order to change the username in the system. Now I want to deploy the project. All I have to do to deploy to the Meteor deployment cloud, which is used only for testing, it's not for real deployment, is to type Meteor deploy. That can help you to quickly test how your app looks like in real life. You can actually surf to this address to see right now and see it running. And this is it basically. Now I'll go back here. Actually, go to. Do you have any question for what I showed thus far? I think maybe it was too quick. If you need any clarification.
I have general questions. Like, have you built any non-trivial applications?
What do you mean by non-trivial?
Say, a team of 3 or 4 people for several months.
You mean a project that required a team of people?
Yeah, so something that, like, because I've seen a lot of Meteor demos, and I think one thing that I don't understand is how you should structure something complex that is probably going to be in 50, 100, 200 files. Like, how do you...
Because Meteor is very modular, what I suggest is to have packages for the different aspects of the project that you have, because I assume that if you have hundreds of Coffee files or JavaScript file, you can structure them into packages. Let's say, if you want to, let's say, write Facebook in Meteor, okay? You'd probably have a package for the chat that takes care of all the aspects that has to do with the chat. If you want to take care of the feed, you can have these as a package also. Everything that has to do with users and so on. By separating